Hello, welcome everybody. Once again, this is Working Out Loud, and I am your host, Dave Darrington, here at Service Rocket. And hey, we're going to have a great show today. Again, thanks for joining us. And if you're out there in listener land on the interwebs, make sure you check the comments, talk to us. We want to have a discussion again today. Working Out Loud is literally about working out loud with ideas and thoughts. We're focusing a lot of the times on B2B, business to business, B2C, business to customer, software as a service, or we like to call it SaaS. You can get sassy here. And we're talking about how this new genesis of customer education, it's not new, it's been around 40, 50 years, is helping software companies get control of and help our customers learn fast, efficiently, fun, maybe. So anyway, I like to believe this one thing. If you are not learning, you're churning. Most people use maybe between 5 and 9 different software applications, B2B SaaS applications every single day. And we've got to understand how to use them to get our job done. So in this show, once again, we always have great guests today, and I'm going to bring in my friend, Righter. Righter,
hey there.
Welcome. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself here. And tell us what you're doing, where you're coming from, and welcome the audience.
Excellent. Hi, everyone. My name is Righter Kunkel. I'm the global head of Acronis' CyberFit Academy. Acronis is a B2B company that does security products for MSPs. I've been in the training and enablement field for more than 13 years, seen a lot from support, operations, and customer success, and even training. So yeah, really excited to be with you today and chat more about some B2B training and some partner programs and what you can do to make your partner program successful.
Cool. I'm excited about it too, because this is where the fun is to be had, because we want to learn, we want to work together. Cool. Okay, we've got Angel out there. Hey, Angel, how you doing? Good to hear from you. Let's get going again. So I always like to frame this up a little bit. We're going to talk more today, as the title says, about partner training programs and doing them right. I want to do a little bit of a history check here. So if you're listening in or you're watching from the future, you're time traveling, it is 2023. Guess what? We went through COVID, post-COVID, now a recession. Oh my God, this is a time in history when what we've been, right? I don't know how you feel about this, but I think we've been validated in a big way about our philosophies and our thoughts or hypotheses that education can be done differently. Because we were always in the past going, we need to have a classroom, we need to sit down in a classroom and everybody get their book out to page 100 and okay, no, we're not doing that. We're trying to do people at scale. We're trying to get our partners in this context to help us expand and grow out. Let me go back again and say, let me throw up a picture, because I was thinking about our discussion and the discussion that we're going to have today. And the thing that I found that's so valuable. Oh, let me find this here. I'll stumble around like a fool. You know what? That's part of the fun. Okay, I'm going to show my Miro board here. Okay, but what I always like to do is try to frame our understanding of the job, Righter, you and I do, in context of a product. And let's not even think about a startup company or a big company. You got a product. It's a new product. I might be at Microsoft or Amazon launching a new product. I might be at a startup, and I only have one. But we have this journey that we take. And again, I want to build up and kind of like lay out the structure for our discussion here, because I think what you bring to the table here, we've had this discussion in different contexts before.
Right.
I think we're really going to get down into the brass tacks about what it is about partners and why they are very important, because I'm a partner. So let's start off. Again, this is the Crossing the Chasm. This is a book on this. You've heard about this over and over. Jeffrey Moore wrote this. We've actually had him on Helping Sales Radio, which was a Service Rocket show from a while back. We always start off talking to customers, and I think this is the part of the equation that gets lost for us. Imagine yourself starting off, you're a new education director or manager or whatever. You got a small team. You go, and Ryder, you're my boss. And you say, go,
Right.
training. All right. I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing. Cool. I know how to build training. I could talk. I could make a class. But who am I talking to? What's missed is, who is my audience? How big is that audience? Where are they? How do I reach them? And at the beginning, it's super easy. Super easy. They're innovators. The people that are coming to us are ones
Right.
that
They're knocking on the door.
they're excited.
Teach us. Yeah. Teach us. Excited.
How many times have you worked with a customer like early phase and you've learned more from them about your own company's product than you would anybody internally?
Yeah. And even those innovators, early adopters, it's always interesting. Oh, we think they're going to use a product as A and B. And they're like, oh, no, we're using it as C. And it's really good as C. And we're like, oh, we didn't even think about C, but okay. Right. Obviously that resonated.
Yeah. And this is this interstitial world between product and success and our actual customers who came to you and said, you know what, darn it, I need a thing that solves this problem I got, and it's software. Okay. You can see the caffeine's finally kicking in on a Friday morning. So anyway, again, let me take us through this and then let's get into the meat.
Sure.
Knowing where you are on this journey. Now, where Ryder, you and I are coming into play is not here.
Correct.
But let's go in the past. Look in the rear view. What did we see? Well, we saw here, oh, these are people are motivated, they're excited, they want to learn it. They helped us more than we helped them sometimes. And we together kind of cobbled together a first curriculum. Then we're here. We land on the first gap in the crossing the chasm, the big ones ahead. And that first one is, all right, we don't have those really excited, motivated people that we can turn to, and they can basically lead their own training. And now we've got early adopters, but they're not as savvy, right? They don't care as much. They care, but now it's, okay, this person here who got my program, got me in the door, well, now they have a team member. And we're teaching that team member, and they're not as motivated. So we get through that, and then we hit the wall. Now, this is where, in the context of like a company that's going to grow like a startup, you're hitting your early majority after the chasm. This is where things get really difficult, because now we're interfacing with people that may not even care. They may be second, third string. You tell say, Ryder, guess what? Here's this application I got for you, my friend, and this is part of your job now. And you're like, right. Right.
Yeah.
And now I've got to teach that person. And well, that might be me, but then we're getting out here where we're sloping over the curve. Now we've got people that are even less motivated. We've got more of them. And now let's throw that partner work in. I'm a big company. I've got thousands, tens of thousands of customers.
Right.
How do I educate that field?
Right. And it's also, some companies will have the direct model where they will directly sell to all those end users. And then some people realize, I can't scale as a company. Well, I'll have partners. And then it even makes it challenging that I remember one boss say, okay, I want you to make training, and you're never, ever going to meet the instructor, because you're going to create training that then's going to be handed to a partner, and then the partner themselves are going to have to do training. So then you have to think about, okay, well, now you have to think about like instructor guides and user guides, and, train the trainers and things like that. Because that's what companies will do. Some companies will do to scale, especially local language, right? If you want to sell in Japan, you really need to sort of partner with a Japanese partner. I just picked on Japan because that's, localization, and that's one of the,
it's a really good one, right?
Yeah, one of the big challenges, and can be very successful. That very well trained and educated Japanese partners, man, the support tickets they've literally found the bug. Engineering go, oh look, they almost found it in the code of where it is. But yeah, so that you see companies that will have that partner, they'll have partner programs and partner discounts, but then there's that training side of it of, oh, well, we need trained and educated partners, for that. So it's definitely, you could debate where in the part of the chasm it is. It's of where companies will make that, whether they want to be a direct sale or a partner sale.
Okay. You have framed it up really well. And let me reiterate it again, because I want I want our market here. And when I'm talking about our market, I'm talking about, hey, if you're an education adjunct or education enablement person, I see people, and actually, like, I'm going to go back through my experience set. I've done multiple at bats. I did this purposely, Ryder. I went like you have in your career. You go from place to place to place and learn all these different things. What I've seen is that there's that magic moment, just like you talked about, where you go, oh my God, it's impossible for me to train all these people. I can't do it. I built an academy, a university, and you know what that's good for? That's good for the scale play. It's good for the self-help. It's good for here's the 101.
Right.
And it's the history of the company. Who cares? It's what do I really need to know? What's in it for me? The WIFM. Cool.
Right.
It's kind of like that first marketing layer. And then it gets into the core use cases. Like, I want to tell you what my product is good for and what it does. And I don't want you to interrupt. Okay. Go online to do that. But where the sausage is really made, I guess you could say it this way, is that let's bring the partners. Let's in that magic moment, we now recognize that we cannot continue to scale our team up. We need help from other people. We start building content to train the trainer. You hear train the trainer pop up. When you hear train the trainer pop up for the first time, that's your trigger to go, I need to build a partner program, or I need to at least start thinking about it.
Right.
Because it's the same pedigree of activity, whether I am an instructional designer building content to hand to an enablement person at another company so they can train their team, as it is for me to do that activity to hand to a partner to enable them so they can train another team. Right. Or for me to train my own internal trainer. It's all the same motion. But now let's think about the tooling and the stuff that we need. And this is where the meat of our conversation should go.
Right.
It's all right. What the heck am I going to do? Why? Well, why? Because I'm going to talk about that in just a second.
Sure.
What kind of training to do? What are the offerings? How do I package it? Do I charge for it? Do I not charge for it? Who's training whom? What are my expectations? How do I validate that the people actually picked it up? Because now they're representing us.
Right.
And that's scary.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you have them, wear the shirts. You send them the shirts and have them they're speaking on your behalf.
Yeah. What happens if they screw up?
Exactly.
What happens if they fail us? It scares the hell out of me, frankly. And I mean, the other part of it is this. Here, I want to do another scenario for you. And then I'm turning it over to you. Let's start diving in.
Sure.
Here's the other thing that I've experienced really painfully, Ryder. And I've had leaders come to me about this to help, Dave, we've got to solve this problem. We want to use partners. And I've seen the partner ecosystem grow, shrink, go, get cut, shrink, what the heck are we doing? What my job is to solve is to how do I, okay, this is what I wanted to say. Either I can do it myself, it being train everybody.
Right.
What would that look like? That looks like me hiring a whole bunch of people, a bunch of trainers. And now it might not even be just in one team, because I was a customer education team, but now we have a partner education team, but it's really the same thing. And I don't have control over it. And now we have more people there. Now we hire a bunch of trainers. Now we have 10, 15 people. Now I have a fully loaded cost of $1 million, $2 million for my organization that I'm carrying.
Right.
I might not even be charging for that money. So I'm a loss center, right? I'm losing money for the company because I'm trying to enable a company. It's coming out of my budget. It's hemorrhaging my budget, but other people are benefiting from this. That can't work. It just training. And I'll say this again. I believe that for doing training is a trap, because it gets you into a loop where you do more training. Where partners come into play is to disconnect us out of that trap and have us as subject matter experts and owners of the business and main primary users of that to craft the narrative, the what's in it for you, what's in it for me, and help enable that team to help enable the world.
Right.
Okay. Angel's really
that's good.
Angel, we're calling on you. We're going to call on you in a bit.
We do have some analytics to talk about too.
Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I think I've framed the heck out of that. I really wanted to, because I worry about people who set off on this journey to do partner training, but then now we have 3 different groups and they're doing different things, and we need to get aligned.
Yeah.
So
So
can you lead us? Lead us
yeah,
into
so
this
yeah, so
discussion.
so what I've sort of seen, and I'll use partner training or channel program or partner program. I've seen many companies, somebody's like, oh, we don't have a partner program, we have a channel, right? So it all
Okay.
depends on marketing of what they say. We'll just say partner program from
What's
now.
the difference between channel and partner?
I
None.
think yeah, none. I mean, you have to decide if they're, is it a VAR? Is it a reseller?
Yeah.
I think kind of thing. But usually what'll happen, there'll be another organization that's in charge of the channel, sort of might be as offspring of marketing, where they're marketing to trying to sign up as many partners as possible.
Right.
And then they'll think about, okay, we're signing up all these partners as possible. We have this big pile of partners. Well, what happens, how do we know, we've got 6,000 partners, how do we decide which ones are better or worse? And then, hey, we probably want to have different levels so you can have different discounts, right? You sell more of our product, then you can get different levels of discounts, right? Not going down the whole partner program
Yeah.
idea, but then they're like, okay, how are we going to differentiate? So a lot of times, certifications or accreditations, right? What you and I would call accreditations, where it's low
Uh-huh.
stakes accreditations, everybody will call
Low
those,
stakes.
yeah, low stakes exams on through an LMS is an accreditation, but a lot of times the partner program will call it a certification, just
Hmm.
because they don't know the difference. So what'll happen is, a partner, Acme Corp partner will want to be a gold partner. That means that they're required to have 5 or 6 accreditations, and then maybe have some other things so they can jump through that hoop,
Right.
to have different levels and get different discounts. And usually about then, when the partner program, maybe late in the game, they'll come to you as the customer education org and say, oh yeah, we need training for our partners. And a lot of times it's, late in the game. Okay, what do we really need to do to figure out
Late in
these
the
different
game.
levels? um, and it always is a push of how, you may spec out, okay, for this level, we think, each partner needs 30 hours of training, and the channel team will go, oh, that's too much. I'm like, well, but if you want them to have this level of knowledge, they're like, we need it simpler, right? So that was one thing we were talking about before, of this
Hmm.
push of, less training to sort of reduce the bar, versus, how much the partner needs to know. And I think that's where, some of the continuous education of, instead of having the partner come to you once a year to get recertified, that if that's kind of what I've been trying to push of, can we convince partners to come back every month or every quarter and keep consuming, versus just coming in once a year, get their accreditations, and now they get their discounts, because that's not helping anyone. um
That's right.
um
A question came up to me then.
sure.
Maybe this is a philosophical thing, Ryder, but and it depends upon the size of your organization and the market of partners that you'd have. So if you were at, like we work, Atlassian is a big part of Service Rocket's ecosystem. And clearly they have their own training and stuff, but we can help with that,
Right.
particularly in certain niches. It's like, how big is that environment and what actually do you need to do? So building that program is kind of like a layering. The first layer may be, I just need help with trainers.
Right.
Or, well, what we find is you first start off with, okay, this is just my narrative, but in the cases where I've been working with partners, you start off with finding, okay, it's got Accenture, and Accenture might be partnering with your company, but they're also helping with implementation, resell, and then it makes a natural fit to say, okay, well, let's put training into that. Why? Because you don't want to you don't want to disrupt the flow of knowledge and activity and work.
Right.
So my philosophical part of this is, how much do you bring in that partner into your world? Because there's things you want to, like I look at a partner and I often say, all right, let me give you a hug, right? You're my friend. If without you, we couldn't be successful,
Right.
but we're not working for the same company, but I don't care,
Right.
because I'm going to teach you everything I can. Now you have another job to do, because you may have other products or other platforms, and you might not work. You might be a partner of other companies. What is that minimum viable product I give to you that gives you enough of a baseline of knowledge to be able to be successful? And
Right.
that's really what we're at, right? Is, hey, I've got this thing here. Now I'll go back to my tenure at Outreach or Gainsight, and outreach. There was a whole bunch of stuff you really needed to know to make somebody comfortable, but it wasn't overwhelming. Right. So I don't know, what's your philosophy in that? How far do you bring a partner into your ecosystem?
Well, yeah. So the interesting part that we did at Acronis is we sell to MSPs, managed service providers, that
Okay.
are usually, a technical CEO, and maybe they've got 5 or 6 employees. And
Mm-hmm.
what we realized was we were doing partner technical training. Then we realized
Oh,
that they also needed to know sales. So we actually have a sales track to teach them how to sell Acronis, plus plus the technical side. And a lot of times you see that the customer education starts technical, right? It's all technical, technical, technical. You forget
starts.
about starts. But that sales track is interesting. And then
Ooh.
we also realize that, the MSPs are a small business. Well, is there any business acumen training we can do just to help them with their business? So we actually partnered, and we partnered with some really important people in the MSP space to just offer some free business training, because if
Yeah.
they're more successful with their business, right, they're going to buy more, right? So we were looking at one data point where, we're looking at churn, right? Churn analytics are all important. Well, if the MSP goes out of business, the churn isn't your fault, right? Well, okay, they
Mm-hmm.
churned, but it wasn't a product deficiency. It was they went bankrupt for a business reason, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
maybe they mischarged, and that was sort of an eye opener for us of like, oh well, we,
Oh, so you're saying it ended up being, in this case, a sales
right,
issue. You didn't
sales
price it
issue.
right.
They
That was
didn't.
technically your fault because you didn't. Okay, I'm going to pause you
Go
here
ahead,
for
go
a
ahead.
minute, because this is really interesting to me, Ryder. Because what you said in just a few sentences to me is kind of the perils and plight of customer education as I see it today.
Right,
We're an integrative activity that connects between a whole lot of aspects of an organization. And it stresses me because, okay, here's the thing. You just mentioned sales enablement.
right,
Not just sales enablement internally. Now it's sales enablement for an external entity.
right,
Well, where did that come from? You mentioned soft skills. Well,
right,
what business do I have? And again, this is me speaking as an old
right.
school
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
training education services person. Like, that's not my responsibility to teach you how to sell. You should come to that with that pedigree and
Right,
that capability. Okay. No, it's not how the world works. So what again we're saying is I'm reframing the the power of what customer education brings, because I think customer education is that focal point or center of all of your knowledge about how your product actually works in the real world, in as much to teach another entity, human being, most likely,
right,
ghost, I don't know, but another person to do the things that we do. And that unlocks into sales and skills. And that's why the compelling argument is that, why are you, Ryder, coming from a customer education angle into the partner world?
right,
Because it's everything that we have to learn.
right,
There should be this
right.
separation.
Yeah, and you need partners. Just like you mentioned before, you can't scale. You 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 can't be a Microsoft and have offices in every country in the world.
Yeah.
And I was diving into how Microsoft did some translation, and they brute forced it. They hired employees in every country. They wanted to localize their operating system, which is that's a brute force method to do localization.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. And it's also the other piece that you can do, because when you talked about how do you justify um, your spend, is something that was really successful at a previous company. Is we had training credits that actually morphed into customer success credits. Um,
Ooh.
so we proved out, because I tell you, finance, if there's an organization, finance, when you're dealing with finance, they're not going to radically say, oh wow, maybe we should adopt this new technology. No, right? Finance, they have a process. They're not gonna look at something new. um
That's for sure.
I see you
Oh my
love it.
God. Yeah, we
so
won't go
so
there.
yeah, so we in a previous company, we started training credits because at time of sale we knew that they were going to need training, but we weren't sure what course they were going to need. So if you can sell them, 100 credits at time of sale, then within the next year, they can redeem those credits for training classes or on-site or this and that. And then we morphed that from training credits to customer success credits, that you could use credits for professional services. You could use credits for, maybe you want customer support. Maybe you want a customer support person live online as you do a firmware update, right? So, I mean, Cisco Systems
Yeah.
does this. I want to pay to have a customer support person live on the telephone as I do a firmware update. Because if it goes sideways, my whole business is out, and they pay for that service. And I really like that model of the customer success credits.
I
And
do too.
with a channel program, you now can offer, okay, you're platinum. Well, now you're going to get 50 or 100 credits every year that you can then spend on things. So it also is an incentive for them to sort of go up the chain. Now, I will caution folks out there, you're going to have to deal with accounting and finance, and it can be a big challenge big challenge of like what a credit is, all terms like VSOE and RevRec, and when do you take it to, when do you take it to revenue? Because, an unused training credit taken to revenue is 100% margin, right? You've just like, but that's the worst way to make money.
Well, because you can't predict it, right?
Where you can't predict it, but also
you want a revenue, you want a RevRec model where people are consuming in that way. I would say what immediately washes over me is that you expire some of those credits, so that you have a forcing function to use them.
Right. And there's also a whole sales function, because now when partners buy the credits, you now need a sales function to call down to make sure they use the credits.
Yeah.
So,
ooh, wow, you're unlocking so much cool stuff here. This is a great, and this is why we like to do it. The practitioner point of view of let's expose this whole partner thing and figure out where we are. Can you, the one point you made here in our show notes was about different financial models.
Yeah. So, right now at Acronis, what we've done is we have free partner training. As a benefit of the partner program, if you sign up with Acronis, we will offer free partner training where we have, we haven't done, I think we've only done one live classroom training in 2023, right? It also just shows how, customer education moved to, self-paced training, and then, Zoom and virtual training. But we offered free, but there definitely is something when, looking at models of, how you're going to pay for training, whether partners MDF funds, whether you decide all your training is $1,000 and partners can use MDF funds to pay for training, whether you use training credits to have partners pay for training. There are some companies that all training is paid for. But remember, every little block you put, that's a barrier to entry, right? That's a barrier to knowledge. So you have to be careful of, okay, well, if a partner needs to be a partner to learn your training, that means they need to log into the partner portal, then get into your LMS system, right? That every piece is a barrier to entry. Some people have just decided to all their content goes on YouTube, right? Let's reduce the barrier to entry. All content's on YouTube. It's translated. But then something that we've heard, I guess it's Maria Manning Chapman, right? A content consumption plan.
Great drop.
Content consumption plan, right? Right. So with all of these, it's kind of, I don't like the fact that a partner program, it's their content consumption plan is, it's required. You must take this to be a partner, or you must take this to be a platinum partner. Right. So it's a forcing function. Like, I don't care. You have to take this if you want to get your partner, if you want to get your platinum discounts. So that's the way, which when you're forcing students in there, you also have to realize you better make your training, good. And with partner program, I'm talking about also the product partner program, because there also is you're training yourselves. You can also work with customer education companies out there that'll be a delivery partner for your content, right? So
Well,
there's
what do you
also
mean,
that
like
piece.
Service Rocket?
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to plant
Yeah,
that.
leads you in there. But yeah, so there's like for example in Korea, we don't really have that many people that speak Korean. So there's a training partner that they don't sell our product. They are just a training partner that we teach them, train the trainer, and then they deliver our training on our behalf.
Right.
And there's financial models around that where you could have that training partner um, pay for training classes um, and give Acronis a cut of that. I've seen models where that training partner buys a training kit, like a 5-student training kit that allows them, and maybe Acronis gets $100 a kit, and then they can charge whatever number they want for that. There's, so there's interesting financial models around there too that people have tried.
Interesting. So there's a lot of different ways to make money. You know what? And part
Yeah,
of this, I want to think about from the partner perspective as well, because we actually have quite a big audience here. And
yeah,
just say hello to everybody: Steve, Angel, Carlos. Who else we got on? We might have some questions from the audience as well. Ashen.
sure,
If I were a partner, now I know at Service Rocket we do this. We do deliver training as partners for clients that we have, big names as well. And why we're motivated to do this is because we also have an ecosystem of other, it makes sense for us to deliver training, let's say for you, if your
right,
platform was in our suite of services that we normally provide. Like for us, we do a lot of work with Atlassian, Jira,
right,
and we can train people in that too. And it makes sense for us. So we're motivated to go to Atlassian and work with their material and their people to consume and become Atlassian certified.
right,
And then that means that we are looked at a higher standard because we've gone through platinum training and we can do all this stuff. Now, what that does for me as a partner is it opens up my ability to transact and to do lead generation for more work, right?
right,
Because I want you to know that I not only can do the work for you, I know my stuff, and I know it in the canonical blessed version of Atlassian because they told us how and we do it. And now we can add our own value to that. So that is such a valuable thing. And so many companies struggle with getting that started. Largely because,
yeah,
and I want to pivot us a little bit because
sure,
you have a lot of, we talked analytics and I'll give
yeah. So
props
we could,
to Angel here. Angel may want to pop in and talk.
sure,
Um, let's talk about the value now. If you give me humor me for a moment.
sure,
You're a company, maybe you're a startup, maybe you're somewhere in the series D, E, F, G, you're growing, right? You're looking towards either acquisition or IPO. Now you're realizing your company's jamming. We're growing so fast that now I've been there. Now my trainers are exhausted. They can't
right,
keep up. I can't keep up. More people are demanding. How do we use this darn product? Okay. Now, if I'm building a program, let's say I do have a partner program and I, as a customer education program, is working to help support them. The first compelling thing that I would want to do with that team is say, hey, let's talk analytics. How are we going to prove our worth to our CEO? And I want you to tell me about that story first as a lead
sure.
in the
Yeah,
story
yeah,
of you going to the CEO with your analytics from your partner program.
right. So I would also say the opposite of the previous company I was at, where we were an island, and I think that talk about we were an island, and
Hmm.
it's interesting that and even at other companies I've been at, I sort of felt that the customer education has been just an island, and I kind of felt that I was the senior VP or CEO of a little island. So meaning like we
Just like
had our
that.
own we supported our own tools, the LMS. No one actually knew what the LMS was. We supported our own tools. You know how many back-end PowerPoint videos and all, Camtasia, all of that content. So like being able to support a check in and check out, a ticketing system, that you're almost like your own little support organization also, because you're going to have people coming in.
Not
And
almost.
yeah,
Absolute. I have an
yeah,
operations person on my team.
yeah. So operations is so important. So you're, the technology stack. And I think that in previous companies, I was so frustrated just being this little island. It is so easy for all of us in the here to think of ourselves as a little island. But then you have the problem of, okay, Now I know I need to hire 10 more people. But if you can't prove the ROI or speak the language of the senior execs, you're your little island. The company around you is going to grow, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be able to grow. So so I
Oh.
think what happened, if I had to guess, even in previous companies, that we just became our own little island. Like literally, we didn't talk to IT. We did our own IT because we only support our own systems. We built eLab systems ourselves. We did it all ourselves, instead of being part of the greater piece. And I would encourage folks. I know it's painful to work with IT. I know it's painful that new
No, it
systems of
isn't.
like, to have legal. Oh, I caution people when when you use your business email and you sign up for a service, well, realize you are agreeing to terms and conditions using your company email address. You may actually be in violation of some sort of legal terms you don't realize, right? Because in signing up, it might be that certain companies have that you literally can't, whatever whatever you want to use AWS as AWS, like you signing up with your company email address and don't pay your bill, you might get your company liable.
Oh,
So
I see what you're talking about. So all the guts, the interstices, the
yeah,
tooling, you need to be part of the fabric of your your
company,
company's
yeah,
culture.
and it's
Yeah.
it's so easy to be your own little island,
Don't
where
be your own island.
exactly. Don't be your own island. But that goes with analytics, where and I thank Maria Manning Chapman, from TSIA, and yeah, if you haven't, anyone on the call hasn't listened to her, she's a great speaker. But she talked about like analytics, that you really need analytics. And my journey at Acronis is I had an employee that very very smart, a little bit burned out. I could not get the corporate analytics team to help me because I was too tiny, right? They were all, so I just put it at him, and he learned how to talk to the data lake in the company, talk to Salesforce, talk to be able to pull stuff. And then all of a sudden he's like, do you realize, oh my gosh, and he was starting to find some pieces, like one of the interesting pieces that we found that I've got in our notes, right, certified partners sell twice as much when they're trained, which
Wait, what? Wait. Okay, I'm gonna do something here. And I
there you
want
go,
you
you're
to say
highlighting
this
it.
slowly again. No,
Yeah.
this is what I love about StreamYard. Um, let's do this. Add banner. Boom. Okay, say it again, Ryder.
Yeah. So this is a data point we found. Certified partners sell twice as much when they're trained. So all this data is out there, right? Hopefully in Salesforce, wherever you track if partners are certified or not certified, and then you'd be able to find the financial models, and right, there might be multiple systems you have to pull from, but that was a piece that you can do. And then when you have that data, we've actually done some cuts of it, of like, okay, what countries of certified partners and training. So it's very interesting to me, like Brazil, the culture of Brazil is, man, they love training. Oh my gosh, they cannot get enough, the country of Brazil, with training, and the numbers even more with certified partners, and being able to show that, and then take a hypothesis that like this, and then have the real data scientists in the company take a look at it also, right, to verify your data, because people might be, the training, or they're just going to make up their own numbers. So
Well, that's true in one context. I hate to interrupt, but
no, go
I've got to,
please.
I have to double down on this. One of the problems of being that isolated unit within an organization for customer education, and again, I define customer education as any activity you do to help enable, empower, or train anybody who uses your platform. So a customer could be an internal
Right.
person, my team members, my partners, and my customers. It's very inclusive definition of it. So that's super helpful. Like, you need to be able to think of your customers in that context. When we talk partners, now we're helping enable another team that is going to enable more of our customers, and we're not doing it directly, but that's the whole enablement play, right?
Right.
So but without data, without numbers, what companies do, and I've done this before. I'm going to tell you I'm going to be very vulnerable. I have been in a position as a leader of an organization, education organization, where I was impoverished by analytics. And I've done the work like you were talking about. I went to our data scientists. I showed them the stuff. Adam Evermescu, if he's out there listening, I munged the data. This is an inside joke we have at C-Lab. We munged all the data together, and I showed the prototype of, here's all the content we have. Here's how, and I'm going to channel Angel here if you're listening. I love your comment. Training orgs proving worth your training revenue is a mistake in SaaS, where training can drive much bigger metrics that the CEO and the CFO cares about. This is what we're really here to do.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to prove without the thread I was trying to pursue is a normal education services mindset would look at completion rates, would look at attendance, would look at isolationist data. What did the program do? Who cares? NPS on a class I gave. Who cares? What really matters, and why I think what you're bringing to the table here is really important, is how do I drive against churn? How do I increase ARR? How do I increase net retention? How do I increase the things that my CEO or CFO, CRO, whoever they are? And that's what gets us now, who have been pushed down as, oh, you're the training guy. No, I'm not the training guy. I am a success engineer.
Right.
And what my job is to do is to show you demonstrably how an artifact of training, an intervention for training in whatever context it takes, translates to that our partners sold twice as much if they were trained by our program.
Right. And then the question is, why in the world would you even put a barrier to entry of charging for it? Right?
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Right. If you all of a sudden say, right, and then even, with churn, right, that, I do think it's important. Churn is one, if partners trying to figure out trained partners churned versus untrained partners that churned. I was looking at some data for a small country, and we had trained 112% of our partners in 2021. And my boss goes, "How could you have trained 112?" And I said, churn. Right?
The partners churned.
The partners churned. Yeah, the partners churned. So that means we trained a partner and they're not a partner anymore. So
that's interesting.
So the number can be greater, and that might be a bad thing, because we trained 112 because we trained a partner for whatever reason. Maybe they went out of business. Maybe we trained the partner and they went out of business. So they're in the trained partners column, but they're not in the financial column of being a partner.
Okay. So I love what you're talking about the financial modeling, and then our folks in the comments are resonating with this.
Excellent.
The money thing is really complicated, but one of the things that we and I actually just happen to have this. We just did Adam Evermescu and C-Lab and I did this. We've been going back historically through books that talk about. This one was from Claudia Gillard-Meir. We have another one that was just reviewed, and we're in part 1 of 3 parts of 45 minutes of talking about each of these books and marketing. The point that you're making here is that we have metrics. We don't worry about as much of the revenue, because if we're looking at the metrics, we're looking at the revenue at the business level. And we might set a charge for that. We might say, oh, our partner training program, it's cost this, but you know what? If you do this, whatever, we comp it. We don't charge you for it. The value is there.
Right.
And that's all the magic that we do in education anyway. We will always set a value. Those books tell you to do so, but it may be free to your partners because you want them to do it. And that the downstream effect of it is what the training consumption, driving training consumption, Angel, as you said, is crucial, right? It's all a money game, but what I was talking about in some of the other episodes that we've done is this is all like calculus. Calculus is involved in, if you look at an integral, area under the curve, all the things we do over time. And that's why calculus is so damn hard. It's because, now I'm playing with infinities and piling up sums, and really what it matters is that the work we do with intent, focused on the outcomes that we're trying to drive to, means we follow the money, and the money shows up in our coffers of our company.
Right, right. And then I do know that there are, just like you said with calculus, people might say, well, certified partners, we said certified partners sells twice as much when trained. Well, people might say, well, there might be other factors, might be other things. But if you keep looking, and I'll just read through some of the other, like if you can take a look about like partners who took training, what are their support tickets like? I mean, that's like from 1990 statistic, right? That is a very old statistic. That can you train a customer and did they open less support tickets? That and
table stakes.
Yeah, but what the other piece I'll also say that with that is, or it could be other thing of my Japanese example, or are you now training partners? They're opening the same amount of support tickets, but the support tickets are beautiful. They literally found the bug. Like it is, so sometimes you might look at the data, go, well, we did training, but the number of support tickets is the same. So you also need to look at what's the quality of the ticket. Is this just, like, is it not, oh, they can't find button 7. It's really, they really found a deep down bug that the engineering's been searching for. So I'm just saying, when that piece of metric, when you look at it, did you train someone and support tickets dropped? Maybe you want to take a look at, did you train someone and the tickets dropped, or the quality of the tickets they came in increased?
Yeah.
So,
super cool.
Yeah. And other metrics is, there's all those time to lifetime value or time to value, right? SaaS companies have all that pieces. That's also a piece. Can you get into that? Can you get into that model of at what point in their onboarding or what point in their journey did they actually take training? And did you find that they took training? Did they increase their sales? And one of the pieces we found is that we're trying to decrease once when a partner signs all the contracts, can we decrease the amount of times once they sign the contract, they take the training? Because we've seen a direct correlation between the earlier they can get training, and even might be the sales training, right? That they know how to sell.
Right.
They know how to onboard quicker. So, yeah.
Super. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All these things, let me just take a pause for a moment, because now history is catching up with me, and the experiences I've had, some of which have been really sad, that I see a partner team emerge and then they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They're just doing training. And well, that's not what you've just talked about. Is impact metrics, ROI, the CEO getting super excited about the program you had and asking you questions now. Right. And I like to keep bringing this back to this point in time we're at right now. So we're doing more with less. We're doing more with other people. You don't have to be in control of every cotton pick thing that you have, everything that you have. You need to let it go, but you need to curate it. And that's where we bring partners into the motion, is that ideally we've got all our, what together. We know what's happening. We can train you on it as we can train our customer. Well, now let's get into delivery a little bit. We can go a little bit long, but
Sure.
I'll keep it to an hour. Can we talk about the two other points related? We talked about analytics. We talked about partner programs in general, but now we're constellating. We're trying to get these partners to be able to deliver. We have to have labs, and we've also talked about translation, with like the tooling, the how to. Can we get a little bit of that?
Sure.
Talk about labs first. Let's go there.
Yeah. So I will tell you that there's that whole kinesthetics, right? Physically doing something.
Hands-on.
Kinesthetics. Yeah. Hands-on. I also am a big fan of, learning in the moment of need. This idea of, and some multiple people talk about that, right?
It's a manifesto here.
Yeah,
Let's put
exactly.
the manifesto back
Learning
up.
in the moment of need.
Have you signed the manifesto?
I have. Everyone, if everyone's listening, you should sign the manifesto. So when a lot of us are doing, technical training, right? We're doing technical products. These are products of whether it's, as a Juniper Networks or other companies. These are very, very technical products, and hands-on training used to be, right. And from your book, remember, people were coming into the place, right? I remember you were talking about people were coming to the training center, right? From around the world, they were coming to the training center because that was the only way to do hands-on. You had to come to the location. And that sounded cool, that there was like a, a cool little relaxing
Sleeping
lounge.
room.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go away to training where they have a sleeping room,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So,
catch up.
and that's where it started. And then, even like, for example, John Deere tractor still does this, right? You can't, if you buy $1 million tractor, $500,000 tractor, you physically go to John Deere so that you can see the different tractors, the different attachments, because it's not like John Deere can take all that equipment and take it to a holiday.
Just download it and print it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think the elabs kind of evolved from physical on site to then packing up gear. I did that, packing up Pelican cases. I have one Pelican case I remember very distinctly of, where the FedEx was delivering it, and the one FedEx guy, he gave us back a Pelican case that it looked like it had been run over by a tank. And it actually had been. It was at a military. It was at a military organization. It fell off of the back of the truck, and literally some sort of tracked vehicle ran it down.
Good old Abrams.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah.
Did it survive?
No, it was all crushed.
Well,
but yeah, so physically shipping gear around and setting it up in hotels and running cables, because we realized that even goes to that adoption curve. Getting people to physically cable up or physically touch the hardware, and we didn't realize that there was metrics that we should be, because we're our own little island, but we really should have measured that. And then even those people, right? Those people that did that, when they go to other companies, they'll want to use that technology gear because they had hands-on with it. And I'm so excited these days with SaaS is now, literally, you don't need to build an elab or very small. You can use the production machines, right? The production SaaS machines that if you can convince, your engineering that, okay, all we need is we just spin off a customer that's part of the production network, that's a customer, and we're going to use it for 2 weeks or a week, and then it just goes away. And now, literally, you don't need to replicate. A lot of times with elab infrastructure, you had to replicate what production networks look like. You had to replicate what the internet looked like, or web servers or email servers or all these things. So,
but you're saying you don't have to because of cloud?
Right. You don't have to because of the cloud. Yeah.
There's a caveat to that. Do you mind if I pursue that? Or you want to finish your thought?
No, go ahead.
So I know this really well. And there's three cases of things that I've been working on over the last decade. One of them, when I was at Gainsight. Gainsight was a really interesting product growth case because the platform is all cloud, right? The best part about it is, at the time, now again, this is dated, so you can't just expect to show up at Gainsight and say, "Can I have this?"
Right.
We were able to use the Salesforce infrastructure. What did they call it at the time? I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But the point is that I could run with a command line script. I could deploy a Salesforce environment hub. That's what it's called. I can deploy an environment literally with all of the Gainsight application layered on top of it, and literally with demo data in that, time shifted to the moment, and send that to you. In 30 seconds, you get an email and you can go through all the tutorial stuff online, and it would be disposed of in 30 days, right?
Right.
That's one angle, but that's not always the angle. And now I'm seeing platforms, and I'll give a call out to an organization called Instruct, INSTRUQT, which allows you to build virtual environments and embed the education in it. And it actually spans that cloud and on-prem capability, but now you're seeing a packaging of all of the technology. I also used another product called Veracity Labs, which is very interesting, and I'll have them on next week to talk about the kind of things that they do, because I'm fascinated by these architectures that we could use to play and not break. And the biggest scare that I have, Ryder, is always, I want you to play, I want you to do all the things, but oh my, if you mess stuff up, the golden prize is to have you in your org that we built for you do stuff.
Right.
I don't want you to do that yet. I want you to go out like John Deere. Hey, I went through training back in the day. I was working in manufacturing in a pharmaceutical plant, and I had to train on forklifts. I'm a chemist.
Right.
What the heck business do I have doing? You had to go there. We had to go to the place and run around the property with these forklifts and do all the things and have an instructor show, I'm going to flip that thing if I do that, Dave, don't do that. So labs are huge, and it's really huge for our partner network in particular, because you want them to screw things up safely.
Right. And
Right.
and having this infrastructure, now the partners can do demos. Now they can go in and do demos, or even, show a piece to the customer. Because, a side note for demos, a lot of times demos are the person driving. You always should get the customer driving the demo. Give the mouse to them and let them drive the demo. Right.
Yeah. For
but
sure.
that's a side note about demos. But yeah, and before we got on, we were talking. I think that computer games have done some more of this, of having computer games of having levels, of not giving them everything. And there's even been talk of pieces of software like, oh well, you can't get the advanced mode unless you've done this and that. But I think that corporate software, I don't think is quite there yet. Like, why do you want to allow a person that's just onto the system to be able to get an API key to your system if they don't even know what they're going to do with the API key, or turn some feature on that's going to do mass emails if they haven't, if they don't know what they're doing right. So it might just be support calls.
Yeah, that's a really good one, Righter.
Because they, unfortunately shot themselves in the foot.
Well, yeah, just to that point alone, specific to outreach when I worked there, that email thing was a big deal. If you would spam your entire sales, database, 4,000 people with an email, you get blacklisted and shut down for your entire domain.
Right.
And until you know that, well, you learn really painfully when you have to start going to the whatever internet agencies to get yourself unblocked. But there's real terror involved behind me. And I think if I could bring this together for partners, I think one of the things that we hold back against, and I know I have been terrified about, is I want to own the narrative. I want you as a partner to understand, okay, you can't tell a customer this thing, and I'm not going to share that with them. But you can't tell them this and this for this reason. This is the piece of that you need to explain to them, because they're not going to understand all the whole enterprise security, the laws about can spam. They don't need to. They need to know you can't do this thing, because if you do it, you're going to be shutting down your business. And then that's what a partner needs to be enabled upon. They need to be able to do. But then you have to have safe environments for them to play in and mess stuff up. And I intentionally like to do, when I'm building partner training content, I go, hey, look, I'll put in the context of a company I'm working with right now. Troubleshooting is so important to them that they need a customer who's a partner helping them, a customer implement. What are the things that are going to go wrong? If I can drive them through every one of these things that go wrong, like I get a CSV file and that has data in it, and how do I know as a customer's going to load that and go, oh, it didn't work? Partner needs to know, okay, look at the file, look inside the file. I see you have some typing issues in these columns here in the CSV and blah, blah, blah. You fix this, you're done. So that's what you want them to run through, but you don't want a customer to have to, like they don't need to.
Right. And side note for that, I always like it having, halfway through working through ELAB exercises, like exercise 5 or 6, just completely fail. It's supposed to fail. So usually you're doing ELAB and it works. ELAB and it works. So exercise 5 or 6 just fails, and you're like, wait, I don't understand. And 7 is the troubleshooting. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did it fail? It was supposed to fail. You were walked down the rabbit hole, and you click the button and it failed. Okay, whatever it is, networking doesn't work, or you can't access this piece, or this API doesn't work. And then the next exercise is to be able to do the troubleshooting of figuring out, okay, where do we look to see why it's broken, and these things. So I do like that walking someone into the into the proverbial wall there.
It's hugely important. Okay, time sensitivity.
Sure.
I want to take one question from the audience.
Sure,
here.
please.
I saw come through a little bit ago, and this was, hey, audience, thank you for this really awesome stuff.
Thank you.
We've got Angel, we've got Kevin talking about things. Kevin had a question,
sure,
and he said this, and maybe you could take a stab at it, and I think our
Sure.
folks are going to be talking to each other, which is exactly what we want happening. Good job, folks.
Community.
Yeah. Kevin said, how do you guys align partnership training with both companies' short and long-term goals? Ooh. Is there another matrix you can measure whether your initiatives were successful or not? That's in the comment section. You should see that, Ryder, if you click comments and you got a note. You want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, I'm looking at here. So, I know what the salespeople will say. It's all about money, right?
Yeah.
The salespeople say it's all about money, but yeah. So, partnerships are a different thing. Where Acronis is doing this too, where we are trying to partner with different vendors so that we can add, their service and our service in there. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to measure. Some of it is just the revenue. I also like with that to be of the two different companies. There also is the piece of logins. Like how often is the thing being used, right? Is it being used or accessed, right? So people talk about churn. It's pretty obvious if someone was logging in, every week, and then for 2 months they haven't logged in. There's a good aspect. I don't think you need to wait eight months for the renewal to come up. They might have already churned.
In their mind, yeah.
Yeah, in their mind or whatever. So
Angel's talking here about.
Oh, sure.
Start with the Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of measurement.
Oh,
yeah.
That's good, really Angels. That's a good point. How would you answer that one?
How would I answer that one? I'm here to help.
Okay.
No, but let me go back to it. Where was the question again? Gosh, sorry. I was listening to you. I'm like, okay,
no, that's fine.
A partnership. So short and long-term goals. It's really a conversation. What I like to do with partners, both as a partner and when I was working with partners, is talk about those goals. What are they trying to do? How are we trying to telescope our customers to success over time, and be upfront with that a partner's goals and my goals together should be aligned. That right. I want them to have best of breed training, and I want to enable them to be able to do that so that they can sell more, that they're a licensing company. The best of breed training that they give ends up, I want you to keep doing that. And why? Well, they're going to get business because maybe they'll get implementation time, or maybe maybe they have like at Service Rocket where we have a customer education program. We can come back in and work with that customer even more. So I think it's a conversation. Matrixing, I don't know. I would love, maybe I'm thinking, hey, Angel, if you're listening, or any of you want to talk about this, I'm open. At me and let's get you on the show. We can go even deeper. That's what this is about. We're working out loud.
Yeah. And I mean, with our MSPs, it's all about, our MSPs can only handle, maybe they're handling, 10 tickets per, IT person. And if Acronis can help them, handle 50 tickets per IT person, or maybe we can, help them with their margins, or help them with their services sales piece, is something to think about.
That is, and that's good to talk about. I mean, being upfront and honest about margins when you have a discussion with your MSP about, hey, this is the margin we've got to hit. How do we hit that? Well, there might be a conversation in there too, because we want everybody to be successful. The partner success really helps accelerate our own growth. Right? I think if we were to come back to the end, now we're kind of trying to wrap up and ask you a couple of things, but partners growth is scale. Using partners helps our ecosystem do more with less and to expand out into the world. So we don't always have to do everything. We can focus internally on making best of breed content, distributing that, measuring that, building success through others, because they're there to help us be successful too. That's what their business is staked on. Right.
Kind of like global local, because also foreign languages, right? They're the local expert in that region.
Exactly. And just to chime out on that one, that's really huge. Going into different geographies is usually one of the greatest plays for a partner training program, where now I can say, oh, we're going to go into Japan or France or, Russia. I don't know. Not now. But all right. Ryder, we're at time.
Okay, excellent.
First off, everybody on the call, thank you for joining. We've
Thank
had a
you.
really great comment section. If you want to continue the discussion or you want to be on the show, reach out, because this is every week, or try to do every week, every other week usually. Ryder, can you tell us a little bit about Acronis, and then I'm going to close out on what Service Rocket does, and we'll say goodbye for Friday.
Yeah, so Acronis, we sell backup and security products to MSPs, and with that, it's the idea that we can have cyber protection, that you need to be able to back up your data and also protect it with security. So not just data backup, and we have some great education content for you. If you become an Acronis partner, we can offer you some free training right through our partner portal. And feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to share more. And our hashtag CyberFit. The idea is, can you be cyber fit, right? Instead of physically fit, can you be cyber fit of password?
I like that.
Strong passwords. Yeah. Hashtag CyberFit.
That's a really good security, and enterprise security are a big thing today. Really big, and more every day. I mean, you see hacks and attempts. I have a lot of friends in that. I used to work in enterprise security. Super cool. Okay. And you could catch Ryder out. I've already listed this.
Excellent. Thank you.
We're right here in LinkedIn, so reach out. And what I always encourage everybody in this market to do is find the others and get to know, network, get to make friends. I want you to talk. I don't want to be the voice out here. As you know, I'm your show host. All right. So Ryder, last thing I want to show.
Excellent.
This is me. This is Dave at Service Rocket. What Service Rocket is really all about is we are that partner. We do a lot of work for resell, and we work with companies like, Atlassian and others. We are a technology company. We're a services company. And my part of this is the first, I'd like to call it this, I'm going to say it out loud and now I'll make it real, the first ever customer education as a service organization. What that means is I'm here to do all the things that can help you be successful, being an advisor and a trusted advisor, because both me and my team are people who have beat our heads against this wall, just like this discussion we're having. Ryder, you've done this, you know it.
Oh, yeah.
We want to share that so others don't have to repeat the mistakes that we've all made over and over again. Customer education requires a dramatically different way of thinking. And I'll just leave this out here for you to look at as we outro. I'm here to talk to you. We have services. We do technical training. We do partner training. And we actually do everything up leading to that. And you can see one of the modules that I have. We have a program called Advisor Services, and one of the pieces of that is the partner enablement. That's why we have conversations like we do today with you, Ryder. So, all right, let's, I want to stop sharing here. So let's stop that. Once again, thanks for joining us today. This is always fun. And Ryder, I appreciate your time. There's nothing better than having a Friday morning talk about our shop talk. I close out the week. Anything else you'd like to say before we?
No. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryder. We appreciate you being on the show, and everybody get out there and make good education, help enable your partners, and have a great week. Cheers.